I don't know if he
And,
might
and
he might be saying we're trying to have less kids when we were transitioning between hunter and gatherer to farmer, spacing 5 years. What's he saying? So this might go against what I said, but I still say we didn't have kids until we could slave until we needed to slave them, and we don't need them now, so we're not slaving them. I mean, we don't need them to be slaves, so we're not having them. We need them to stay away so we can be free, and that's why wealthy countries like my own have no kids. I'm working with about 13 people that have no kids. And that's why I call them my kids, because they act like kids. And even the one that has kids is that much more immature.
another implication of the trend towards sedentism that was important to Kent Flannery's and Lewis Binford's theories explaining the beginning of farming. I mentioned it briefly in the last lecture. Women in mobile hunter-gatherer groups tend to have children at spaced intervals, sometimes averaging around 5 years. The statistics from small-scale sedentary farming societies, and our sedentary hunter-gatherers are not so different, as the anthropologists tell us, is that birth spacing is significantly less than that. So as
Oh,
the group shifted towards sedentism, even a slight reduction in birth spacing for females would, over time, as I've suggested, lead to demographic growth. And in that sense, since the natural food resources in any area are finite, the trend towards sedentism ultimately leads to a disequilibrium between population and available wild food resources.
oh, okay. So I got it wrong. So he's saying that hunter gatherers had kids once every 5 years. I don't know how they did that. And they had them much more when they started farming. And then he's going to go on to say that we overpopulated for a while because we were both doing farm, a little bit of farming and a little bit of hunter and gathering. So that must have required us to speed up the either stop having so many kids or speed up the farming. Stay in one place even more. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you cannot lug around a kid. They're telling us that they can't lug around the rocks for millions of years. And when they finally came up with this one rock that they could flake and be, it was like they called it the multi-tool of the Paleolithic. That meant that they could go farther and be more efficient and be freer. So you think they're gonna lug around kids once every 5 years? They had a kid once every 5 years. What, they kept the kid? Is what they really mean? I don't know. Because our population was so low for so long because I think we were just killing them. Because they admit that the hunter-gatherer lifestyle had no cancer. It was a lot healthier. You weren't living with the diseases of domesticated animals. So think about it. Think about it. Why weren't we exploding in hunter-gatherer days? Because only 0.101% even kept the kid. And then when you keep it, they're still going to die of diseases, right? Young or accidents. Or maybe you decide when they're 5-year-olds that they're too much of a pain in the ass. And that's when you leave them. Just one day he looks around, there's no mommy or daddy there. And that's why they didn't bury people either. They weren't even burying, they're dead. And yet they're this was a society that just could care fucking less about one another, you know? So that's why we didn't grow. Probably went through multiple wives, not just because they died in childbirth, because we just killed them. Went on to the next one. Who knows? There are signs of, violence between groups, but I haven't heard of violence against women. That old caveman thing where they dragging them by the hair. I don't think I've seen anybody talking about that. But so I'm probably wrong there. But still, how did we stay such a low population so long? Because we didn't open the door to children. We closed it.